Here we go. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Lesson Non-Classics. This is episode number 3062, Doubleshot number 2956. So, with this particular one, we're discussing issues, well, we're going from 26 to basically 40 of Secret Origins. Now, 25, not mostly 25 issues like with last time to discuss this book. Oh no. Not doing that again, though there will be a couple bit of skipping here with this one. I am skipping over issue number 39 because I've reviewed that one already. And I'm also skipping over the backup stories in issues 31 and 36. So, let's get started. So, 26 is basically a retelling of the origin stories for Black Lightning and Miss America. Black Lightning, of course, his story is, well, the writer of the book is Tony Isabella, the guy who co-created him. Not Jared Freeman, he's not listed as artist this one. Miss America, this, of course, is Joan Dale. This is not the character from Marvel Comics. This is a completely different character. Founder member of the Freedom Fighters, and this is basically her post-crisis origin story, where post-crisis, her team did technically fight World War II, but not Earth X. They apparently, some of them died during a battle that happened just before the events of Pearl Harbor. Black Lightning is just his thing is just a retelling of his classic origin story. And Tobias Whale is here. Earl Crawford. It's just a character associated with him. All it is just a retelling of issue 1. Miss America is just a retelling of an issue of Crack Comics, mixed in with a little bit of post-crisis stuff. Issue 27. This one here has got two stories here. This one, actually 3. This one basically talks about. This one has the post-crisis origin stories. First of Dr. Mist. With the fighting, it's all about mostly put the big driving force of this book is Dargon the Surgeon, who basically was, well, you have Felix Faust, and we have in the main story like appearance by Brad Franklin, Alessandro Calziguro, Christopher Columbus, Duncan Ducci, Dr. Cole, Hamamoji, John Zadra, aka Zatanna's father, because it's basically Dr. Mist basically telling a story about basically her father. And the story is done by Randy Luff and Robert Lauren Fleming. We're actually going to get to him in a minute, basically, a book he's working on. We have Tom Marks in the artwork. Second movement, Length of a Sleeve, is by Robert Lauren Fleming, Roy Thomas. And third movement, The Coming of Zatanna, Robert Luffer and Robert Lauren Fleming. Basically, the big gist of this book is it's just basically retelling the origin story of Zatanna. That's literally what the book is. It's mostly put just expansive sort of like Search, Swamp Thing, and Spectre. It's a good issue. Yes. Issue 28. This one here is basically about Midnight and Nightshade. Nightshade, I believe, was a character originally created by, if I remember correctly, I believe she was created by Steve Ditko. This is basically Robert Greenberg basically retelling her origin story where she was a partner of King Faraday, not Captain Atom. Yeah. And I believe this actually was collected in a Suicide Squad trade, believe it or not. I'm just going to check here about that. Because I remember seeing it, seeing something like that collected in that book there. Ah, here it is. Oh, issue 14 was, not this one. Yeah. Yeah. And the backup story is about a character named Midnight. Who is this guy, you might ask? Oh yeah, this is the guy who is clearly DC's take on I think what was his name here? Not the Shade. The Spirit. Yeah, he's basically taking the Spirit. This is basically just this new origin story. Yeah, he originally appeared in Crack Comics back in the... Smash Comics back in the 40s. And this is just a retelling of his origin story. Now, Nightshade's on Robert Gresser, and Roy Thomas as Midnight, because of course he does. Now, 29, of course, features 3 stories. The opening story is a retelling of Adam's story, but he's doing it during the time when he was part of the Sword of the Atom stuff. But the best way to scroll, also, you can have this book story be, is it's sort of a very loose backdoor pilot into his ongoing series. This, of course, is written by Roger, who actually wrote Power of the Atom, and Dwayne Turner in the artwork. We have this funny one. We have Sheldon Mayer doing an origin story for Red Tornado. You know, Ma Hinkle, of course. Yeah, this is basically a comedy story. And then the third story is all about Mr. America, Tex Thompson. Yep. Yeah, it's a retelling of his origin story from Action Comics 1 and him fighting Fifth Columnist, aka the Nazi Party. Yeah. And apparently they had it where in the Adam book where Kato Hall was replaced by Carter Hall as part of the Justice League. This one, but the Red Tornado, that was funny. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. Issue 30 is basically Plastic Man and Elongated Man getting their stories told. Joe Jones does Elongated Man, while Plastic Man is done by Roy Thomas. And it's just basically Ralph telling the story himself. Patrick O'Brien. Of course, the joke in the book, like, oh, we're going to tell the story of Wednesday Winks. Not really, it's all about Plastic Man. Elongated was interesting. It's just retelling some stuff from The Flash. But I like the Plastic one. That was kind of fun. And I've heard someone say when it comes to Plastic Man that no one can ever replace Jack Cole, his creator. In case you're curious, have I ever read the original Plastic Man stories? I think I read one. I have never read a lot of Plastic Man, but I really enjoy the character. Now, from 31 to basically, I think it's like 30... This one here is about the origin story of the JSA. I'm surprised this was not collected in the book. Oh, it was reprinted. Okay, so... Yeah, for 31, I thought this was basically just a backup story. Nope, it's the whole thing. So I better put that on there, because apparently this was collected before, so I better take this off here. Yeah. So, yeah, Last Day JSA was reviewed before, so... Oh, there it is. So, I thought it was a backup story in that one. No, it wasn't. It's a single book. Moving on. The 32. This is a 32 to 35 is mostly put all about the Justice League. Now, this is basically the origin story of... This is from my Peter David. It's basically, the origin story of the Justice League, where this is a retelling of an old Justice League story, which is, I think it was like Justice League number 9, where the final lab was Aquaman, Black Canary, Flash, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter. Now, of these people, Black Canary is not a member of the team. That was a post-crisis idea. They didn't finally fix this whole dumb thing of like, or Batman similar were not part of the original lineup. That wasn't fixed until Infinite Crisis. And this was the origin story forward. I like the story. Yes. Second story is about the first opening story. Excuse me, is the post-crisis origin story of... It's a story about Mr. Miracle, written by Mike Carl and Don Heck. Then we have Green Flame. You're thinking, who the heck is Green Flame? Green Flame is Fire of the JLI. Yep, it's basically her story. And Iceman, aka Ice. Yeah, just basically their stories. Now, who writes these ones? Well, Green Flame, aka Fire, is written by Mary Burnham and Tom Burman, and Chuck Austin is on the artwork. I think, wait, Chuck Austin? Wait a minute. That name sounds familiar. Didn't he write some X-Men? Yes. And he wrote before that he wrote porn comics. Yes, seriously. No occasion when I never read them. Iceman is done by Joe Jones, who actually would write Ice in the main book. Jim Benito. Yes, it is just retelling her origin story. Which, good stuff here. This one. For 34, it is all about Captain Atom, Red Rocket, and Gnort. Yeah, it's like this point, it's called Secret Origins. It's more like at this point, it's just an anthology book featuring these characters in these various stories. Not retelling origin stories. Captain Atom was by Carrie Bates, one who basically retold his origin, basically introduced a silver version of the character. We see our Red Rocket is done by William S. Lobes, and Gnort is done by Jay Matias, Keith Giffen, art by Keith Giffen and Stefan DeSavo. I'm actually quite surprised this book was not collected in the JLI books. You would think it was because he features people part of the JLI, but nope, not really. And 35 ends this whole thing. We're telling, first we have the secret origin of Boost to Gold. Yes, it's done by Dan Jorgens, and it's a shame this book was not collected in the Boost to Gold book. I didn't see there. Martian Manhunter and the secret origin of Maxwell Lord. Now, Maxwell is done by Robert Lauren Fleming and Keith Giffen. Martian Manhunter is done by Mark Vernon, which I think this guy later wrote his first miniseries. I think. Yes. 36. Now the poison. Now what I think was one. I think it was the. Yeah, the poison ivy one I discussed already. So they have two stories in here. One focused on Thomas Coe, aka Pieface. It's basically his story, and then we have origin story of Hal Jordan. Which I love the cover here, where it's like, oh, we have Poison Ivy about to kiss Hal Jordan on the cheek, and these two do not interact each other in the comic. The origin of Green Lantern, that's done by Chris Priest and Danny O'Neill. Artwork by Neil Adams and Mark Bright. I think this was the first time that these two have done Green Lantern since their classic stories from the 70s. Joe Jones of the Thomas one and Poison Ivy, well, discussed already. It's actually the C story, not the B story. So, and then we have issue 37, the secret origin of the Legion of Substitute Heroes. Yes, where basically it's a retelling of when they first debuted back in the Silver Age, where all the members were basically rejected members of the Legion Superheroes. The Polo Boy later became member of the Legion Superheroes later on. I think it was in Volume 3, I think it was. And they just come to spot. They basically, their job to do is fill in the gap that basically for the main superhero team. And then we have Dr. Light one. Now, who writes this one? Substitute Heroes is written and drawn by Ty Templeton, who also has the cover artwork here. He does the artwork for Dr. Light story. That's done by Craig Bergman. 38. 38 is an interesting one. I love the cover of this one done by Tom Greenberg and Dick Giordano. It is Green Arrow and Speedy. The Green Arrow stars Mike Rowe. And those of you curious though, was the story collected in the Green Arrow trades that collected Mike Rowe's run for the book? Nope. It never was. If you're curious why, I have no idea why. But I love the whole thing of just retelling Green Arrow's origin story. Basically the island stuff. Speedy is very similar. Of course, he met with Cheshire and Roy Harper Sr., who is Roy Harper's father. But let me show the cover here for this one. This is issue number 38. because this artwork is gorgeous. I love this cover artwork here. Like, if DC ever wanted to do a trade paperback collecting this book, put this cover on the front cover, because this cover is amazing. I love this cover. It is awesome. Now, of course, skipping 39, because... yeah, skipping 39 because I've reviewed it already, so we're going straight to issue 40, and have a last discuss at the moment for this book. 40, of course, has the little side banner thing with it, which is something they did also for the annuals too, and it's just about the monkeys. We have one about Gorilla Grodd, Congarella, and Detective Chimp. Gorilla Grodd is done by, actually it's mostly King Salvador, basically it's Gorilla Grodd stars, done by Carrie Bates Conventino, which, interesting they got Conventino in this book because, well, he did help create Gorilla Grodd, which good on DC for bringing him in, and Carrie Bates, which I think he was writing Flash just prior to this one. Congarella is done by Tom Joyner and Fred Booter. Detective Chimp is on entry help for Mark Wade and Dan Russ with Mark Badger on the artwork. Yeah, just various stories with these characters. But, yeah, great issues. Awesome. And I give these issues a 10 out of 10. Excuse me. Next up is Valor. You're thinking, what the heck is Valor? It's Mon-El getting his first and to date only solo ongoing series. He's never had one before or after this. Now, the book itself, with the exception of one issue, we'll discuss the first 10 issues here. Written by Robert Lauren Fleming with Mark Bright on the artwork. He recently passed away just last year. Man, I miss this guy's artwork. That was awesome. Even it was almost a year since he passed away. Yes, so the first, I think it's the first couple issues. Actually, it's the first issue. First issue serve as an aftermath of the Eclipse Darkness Within story, basically where Eclipse is affecting everybody. So this is a solo book. And in the book, he's not called Mon-El. He's for the first one, has a run named Lar Grad, which is actually his actual name. And here he interacts with Supergirl, Superman. He gets to fight with Lobo. And the Lobo one is actually by Mark Waid, which that issue served as sort of a prologue into DC Trinity, which is a cross between Green Lantern, Dark Stars, and Legion. A really good story. That has never put in the trade paperback for some reason. Like, you have him basically building a spaceship. He basically is operating on Earth for a bit. Lex Luthor's in the book too. It was the whole thing is Mon-El basically was kind of falling for Supergirl. Oh, in case you're curious though, when he took the title of Valor? It happened in one of the annuals of Legion Superhero. That's when he first became Valor. And of course, there's with LexCorp here. I do like the fact he puts together his spaceship in these issues. Eventually goes to space and encounters Lobo. Which, you're thinking, wait, why is Lobo here? Here's the reason. It's 1990s. Lobo was everywhere. If you read any comic published in the 1990s for DC Comics, with the exception of the Bat books, a lot of the sci-fi related books always feature Lobo. As a matter of fact, he's going to my next comic corner, believe it or not. Yes. And of course, with Legion here too. Yeah, and Lobo's off in space after the first 2 issues. Yeah, basically he's only on Earth for the first 3 issues, and then he's off to space. His spaceship is known as Pilgrim 1. This weird little spaceship that he basically decided to put together in the first few issues, and then he's off to space, and that's what he does. It's him doing his space ventures. Yeah, then of course so he gets arrested and gets a new spaceship too. And apparently the Blasters, which were supporting group, they first appeared in their they last appeared in their own special, which is one of the things that led to invade. It's one of the stuff that led to invasion. Yes, so their creation appeared Davids, and I guess Rebel Left was probably asked to put in here, and of course the feature in the very next issue. Oh, the Blasters. I may have Snapper Car, Looking Glass, Gunther, Jolt, Frag, Dust Devil, Crackpot, Kurt Jerkins, Miss Levy. Yeah, there's a group for Snapper Car. Yep. Oh, in case you're curious though, how much of this book are they featured in? They're here up until issue 8. Yep, they're here to issue 8. So yeah, here for a pretty good period of time working with Valor as like a supporting group of characters. I mean, why not? And him find various aliens, which is awesome. Now, 9 meanwhile, though, was not written by him. This is by Mark Way, which I think this was like the sole issue that he wrote for the book. Then, of course, he has his own Alia, who is Green Lantern. Yeah, she made her debut in issue 5, and she's here as pretty much like a regular character in this book, though she's gone by issue 11. There's also a Dark Star in the book named Chester Barron. Yes, they feature in the book. He, of course, is only here for just for the one issue, and the whole point of him being here is the Trinity crossover. Issue 10, of course, basically is more stuff with Valor. There's also a recurring villain named White Spider, who first appeared in issue number 3, and then was brought back in issue 10 to die. Yeah, and one of his villains book called Unimaginable. It's this weird creature that, for some reason, Robert Law Fleming decided to feature as a recurring villain for a few issues, and then just disappears at issue 10. By the way, we have Jeffrey Moore in the arc issue 10, but these issues are fantastic. Yes, here's the thing. The last 4 issues are in trade. It's probably an omnibus, but the first 19 issues, no, they're not in trade. I picked this over doing the 5 years of omnibus because I rather not just start with this book at the very end, just do through the beginning. I must stop just prior to when the first issue collected in those 5 years omnibus books, which one you'll find out later on. And then we replace this book with Legion. With Secret Origins, when I finish that one, that's going to play with Dark Stars. Yep. So, get a lot more comic books done. Yep. I'm going to give Valor issues 1 through 10 a 10 out of 10 because these issues were so good. I kind of wish DC would put this character trade paperback. Something that's not the lead superhero stuff. Yeah, and of course, yes, this whole code name was set up in an annual for leading superheroes from the fourth line of the series to set this book up. Yeah. Now, mine now is usually in the future because of all the lead poisoning. Here, he's stuck. He's basically went back to the 20th century. He's stuck there for this whole book until we'll get to it. Yep. So yeah, that's the particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not like button. Next up is Case Closed. Okay, next video. Bye.